Hello and welcome to the 12th video tutorial of this series. Over the last video tutorial, we have learned different data structures available in Python. Those were list, tuple, set and dictionary. Now we are going to learn about differences between them and the scenarios when we should choose list, tuple, set and dictionaries. So first of all, I'll show you a chart which I have prepared to mention the differences. So here it is. So the first difference is that we already know that we define a list in this capital bracket, similarly a tuple in a small bracket, and we define a set into curly braces, and similarly we define a dictionary into curly braces, but dictionary is in the form of key and value pair. Now the second point is same for everything, like can have any number of values in case of list, it can have any number of values in tuple, in set and dictionaries. We can have any number of values over there. And the third point is list contain duplicate element, or list can contain duplicate element. Tuple can contain duplicate element, but set cannot contain duplicate elements. And in case of dictionary, it cannot have duplicate key. It can contain duplicate values, but it cannot have duplicate keys. So we will see how it cannot contain duplicate elements over here, and how set cannot have duplicate keys. So we will see by writing a small program. Third point is list is an ordered data structure, tuple is an ordered data structure. Similarly, but in case of set and dictionary, both are unordered data structures. This also we will see an example by writing a code, and we will see how a data structure is ordered and what is unordered. So list works on index basis, and hence the manipulation is easy. Tuples are immutable, that means we cannot change its value, or we cannot add any element at runtime, or we cannot change the value of any already existing values. Now in case of set, manipulation is not easy because set does not work on index basis because it is unordered data structure, so we will not be knowing the index of any particular value. So in this case also the manipulation is not easy. And in case of dictionary, manipulation is easy because elements are stored on the basis of key. So if we are aware about key, so we can change the value of it, or we can perform any operation like deletion, updation, or we can add a new element also. So now we'll see a small program which will explain all the differences, like how we define a particular data structure, what is the meaning of whether it can contain duplicate element or not, what is the meaning of order and unordered data structure, and what is the meaning of manipulation is easy, and in some of it is immutable, and some of it manipulation is not easy. So let's look into it. Now I have a file named practice, so we'll do some sort of practice over here. So first point, we learned that we define a list in this bracket, so we already know that we define it into capital bracket. There is nothing new to learn into it. And in case of tuple, we define it into small braces, so again we are not learning anything special or new. In case of set, we define it into curly braces, we are already aware about it. And in case of dictionary, we define a dictionary in curly braces only, but we define it on the basis of key and value. So again I am taking a key ID over here, and the value is 100. So this is the way how we define different data structures. Now the second point is that it can have any number of values. So obviously we can add any number of values in this, like I am defining 40, 50 in all the data structures. So this will not be a problem, we can have any number of values. Now we are moving to the third point. The third point was, if you remember here, it can contain duplicate element. List can contain duplicate elements, similarly tuple can contain duplicate element, but set and dictionary cannot contain duplicate element. Now we'll see how list and tuple can contain duplicate element, but set and dictionary cannot contain duplicate elements. So now we are going to define, or we are going to add a duplicate element into our list. I am adding an element 50 which already exists over here like this, and again we are defining a value of 50 in our tuple, and which is again exists in our tuple. Now if I try to print our list, and similarly if I try to print our tuple, so let's see what will be the output. To run this file we have to write py and file name, and we run. We can see that the element 50 is added 2 times in tuple and list, and we got same as an output. That means list and tuple can contain duplicate element. Now this has been proved. But what will happen in the case of set and dictionary? So I am trying to add one more 50 value in our set, and similarly I am trying to add one more key id over here in dictionary, and now I am giving the id as 200, and we will try to print the set first. We are printing set, and similarly we are trying to display our dictionary. Let's say I'll run it and we'll see what is the output of set and dictionary. And here you can see that, so you can see that the value 50 is not added into our set again. You can see that 50 exists, but it is only once. But in case of dictionary you can see that okay, we got id twice, because you can see that this I is small. So if I make it similar, both the IDs are same now, and again if I run this file you can see I made a mistake, and you can see that ID is only once and name is only once in our set, in our dictionary. So what happened over here is that the first time in case of set we defined 10, 20, 30 and 40 and 50. Now if I try to add one more element 50 over here, so it will not add the next element which is coming and which is duplicate, right? So that's why we are getting like only this values 10, 20, 30 and 40 and 50. But in case of dictionary what is happening over here, the value of first ID is 100 and the value of second ID is 200. So what it is doing, whenever it is getting the second ID over here, it is replacing the value with the new one. So earlier the value was 100, now it has a value 200. So this is the only difference between dictionary and set. Otherwise both of them does not contain duplicate element. So I hope this would be clear to you. Now we are moving to next point, and the next point is that list and tuples are ordered data structure, whereas set and dictionaries are unordered data structure. So we'll try to find out what is the meaning of ordered and unordered data structure. So I am removing extra 50 from here, which is the duplicate. Now if I try to print, so this is output of our, this will be the output of our list. Now this will be the output of our tuple, and similarly this will be the output of our set, and this will be the output of our dictionary. So we are doing nothing, but we are just trying to display the values over here. If I run it, so if you observe the output, the first output, this is the output of our list, and the values are in the same order the way we tried to insert, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 is here, and similarly it is over here. So again in the case of tuple we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 as an input, and similarly if we try to display it, so we can see that it is in same order. But what happened in the case of set, if you see, we have added the values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 over here, but when we try to retrieve the value from our set over here, so it gave us an output 40, 10, 50, 20, 30. So that means set is an unordered data structures, which we learned from our this chart. Like set is an unordered data structures, but list and tuples are ordered data structures.